everybody. You are about to watch the third video with Carrie Allred, the Executive Director at Rural Utah Child Development. And this is going to be really one of the best videos in terms of getting some key points across. And one of the biggest things about this is it's going to highlight the power of inclusivity, the power of building teams across an organization, and the power of really building a culture around data use. When you get everybody together, you can get really good results, and they build one upon the other. It takes time, it's painful, you make mistakes along the way, but when you actually get it rolling, it's a fantastic thing for your programs. And all of us have our parts to play in that process. And everybody, when we contribute together, can really help Head Start programs across the country use data more effectively to support children and families.
So in the early days when we were creating cards, class data was one of the first cards that we wanted to create. And we had been collecting class data in a spreadsheet. And so each center had class data in each one of the areas, and we would look at it, all numbers on a page. And the first time that an education manager created a card, when the card populates, all the colors come together, the graph is cohesive, and you close the card, you save and close the card, and it appears before you. And in that moment, I was there with the education manager. And when the data display opened up in front of her, she said, "Oh, look at this classroom." And I turned and said, "You're the one who put the data in there." And she said, "I had no idea it went down that much." And that was the spark of change. Because when you can experience having the data in front of you in numbers and words, and then you have it rise up in front of you as a display that tells its own story, you can't unknow that. You can't unexperience that feeling of, "Oh, I didn't know that that's what the data was showing me." What happened after that was a really quick momentum of all managers creating content cards and getting really interested in the process that they were doing in their content areas, and whether it was A, compliant, and B, showing outcomes. And what happened after that was I stopped waking up at 2 a.m. and I stopped thinking about it at 6 a.m. And on the 4th of July, all I thought about was how my dog was going to react to the fireworks, because I didn't need to think about compliance anymore. I didn't need to think about reminding people and remembering. And it went from more than 40 hours a week to a 40-hour-a-week job. The next step that became really important as each content area expert was creating cards in their content area, it was really important that we had consistency, because we couldn't do this without a system. And we realized we didn't have a system. When we would create some of the data displays, we would see disparities, and we would see differences by county, by center, by content area. And we realized that we didn't have a consistent system of who does what, when, and then what. So we started a project that was a data capacity assessment that included interviews and surveys and management interviews and surveys about leadership and the line staff's understanding of data. And it was the most enlightening for me as a director to know that, number one, I needed to slow down, that I needed to learn about change management, and that creating the way that we were displaying data was a big change for our team, and that we needed to look at the data that was coming in, not just the data that was going out. A beautiful display doesn't mean accurate data. And because we are charged in Head Start with making data-informed decisions, it's really important that the data is accurate, and not only accurate, but complete. And we needed a systematic way to find out if our team consistently understood the expectation around data, the why behind the data, and what was being done with the data. The beautiful thing about learning a new way to do something is that there is an evolution in the program of what you start to look at. So instead of looking at what you can't do, you can start to see what you can do. As our data became more consistent and understood at the staff level, at the specialist level, and at the management level, we started to see the data as individual children. And instead of just collecting summary data for ASQs and summary data for health events and summary data for family services, we started to collect data by child. And each data set was a child's name. And we created a child level dashboard that could be filtered to a child's name. And in that child's name is a child's face and a child's family. And we were able to aggregate and disaggregate the data by the child. So we weren't just looking at how many children needed dental follow-ups. We were looking at a child in a county, in a center, in a family who had sore teeth. And at the same time, we could see that he also had behavior problems. And he also had a family that was struggling with homelessness. And that he also didn't pass a physical. And we were able to see what we did. And when it came time for that child to drop, where we are right now, is before we want somebody to drop, we want to see what's left undone. And we want to not drop the child when they drop the program. We want to finish what we started. And now we can, because we know what we need to still do.